Hi, I'm Dana, and one of the very consistent comments that I get from new people on my channel is, well, why don't you have any support? Why isn't anybody helping you? Why don't you have a support system? Why do you not have any helpers or carers or people to support you while you're trying to get through life? And part of me is like, yeah, it's a fucking good question, isn't it? Like, that is a good question. I would also like to know that. And a massive part of it is that me being an autistic person is just not taken seriously, and I thought it'd be an interesting video to go through some of the reasons I think that is. So getting straight into it, I very much think that one of the main reasons that my autism isn't taken seriously is very simply that I've made it this far. I've managed to get myself into a situation where for the last several years I've been in situations where to an outside person it's like, okay, so you've got a roof over your head, you've got the ability to eat, you can speak, like, go out and do something, go out and live your life, go and be a person. You know, like, I can see where it's very easy for people to walk into my like clean decorated house and be like, so you're fine then. And the reality is that it's taken me all of my like everything, every bit of energy, every bit of like since moving out at 16, one of my main focuses in life has been get to a point where my routine means that my house is clean and tidy and nice to live in. If I do anything else, if I go on a little day trip, if I go to a little social club like I've been trying to do, if I do anything else, my house isn't getting cleaned or tidied. I will have all of my dishes there, the floor will be all bitty from the litter and from Otis. The only thing I will do is scoop my litter trays, and it will fall to absolute shit the moment that my main focus isn't taking care of my house. One of the big ones is also, well, you get your bills paid. I'm paying my bills for the first time, like myself for the first time in my entire life. Like, I've had so many people be like, well, you managed to get your bills paid. I've had other people doing that. I've had a housemate that I just send the money to. My last landlord paid the bills. Like, I've never paid my bills until like December last year, you know? And it's one of those things where, like, yeah, I had my friends phoning people up for me. I had all sorts of fucking issues with getting them sorted, and they are now all automated. The only thing that I have to go and physically pay is my council tax, and that's a nightmare. That stresses me out to no fucking end. I have said, like, I pay it in bits because I quite frankly can't afford to pay the entire chunk in one go. It's a lot of fucking money. It stresses me out to no end to pay that one bill, and everything else just goes out of my bank. And it happens as soon as I get paid as well. It's not like I even have to think about like having the money in my bank. It's I get paid and the bill money goes out, and then I'm like, okay, this is the money I have, this is my money to use now. Like, the fact that I've put in an enormous amount of work into getting myself set up in a position where like I'm as comfortable as I possibly can be, it hasn't been fucking easy, and it's still not fucking easy, and like it's definitely better than it could be. I am very fucking proud of myself. I've had to put in, I'm sorry, but like 3 times the fucking work any ordinary person would have to put in to be in the same position, and it's been so stressful, and I feel so much anxiety about losing it, and I've had so much trauma to like get to this position, and none of that's seen. None of that is seen, you know? That's all very internal stuff. And that's my next little point, which is that the vast majority of me like being autistic to other people is internalized, and obviously it's because I'm masking, and I'm not even particularly good at masking. Like, I definitely used to be better at it, and it's something that I've lost partially due to burnout and partially due to unmasking. Unmasking has meant that like I just cannot put it on in the way that I used to, because I didn't know that I was doing it before, and now I do, so it feels immediately like very unnatural and silly, and I'm just not physically like able to mask in the way that I used to. And all that means is that when I tell people I'm autistic, they don't go, oh, but you don't seem autistic, which is what used to happen. Now they're like, oh, okay, and they're like, oh, that explains things, that I understand now, you know? That's all that's changed, is that people accept that I'm autistic instead of telling me that I'm not when I tell them, because they can sort of tell something's going on. So like when I've had appointments with social services and they've come out to like see me, they think I'm fine. They're like, oh, well, you talked to us, you spoke to us fine, you didn't seem anxious, you didn't seem this, you didn't seem that. Like, I might seem a bit awkward, a little bit like slow to process and stumble over my words a little bit, but I seem fine to them. And it's crazy to me, because it's like, okay, but I closed the door and had a meltdown. Like, I can only mask for very short periods of time. I can't do it particularly well. And the moment you left, I had an absolutely massive meltdown, even though nothing was like wrong. Just from having to like be in this social interaction and having someone in my house and just having to exist as a person gave me a meltdown the moment you left. Like, that's not normal, that's not okay, that is actually quite detrimental to my life. It's now going to take me like days to recover from this, and I feel ridiculous, and I feel a whole host of very, very negative emotions. But it's all internalized, and it's all kept private, and it's all kept just to me, so no one gives a fuck. No one cares. I'm also massively driven by the huge amounts of trauma I've experienced in my life. So like, I would be screamed at and like sometimes physically assaulted a little bit to go and have a shower by my mother. Like, if she had to get to the point where she was like physically dragging me to the shower and hurting me, then she would, because it takes, like, especially as like a teenager, having a shower is such a horrible sensory experience for me that I would put it off for as long as physically possible. And I still do that massively. I'm still like very sensory avoidant. But that trauma and the mask that I was like forced to wear, and just trying to be a fucking person, to be honest with you, like some level of it is just, I want to be a person. I don't, you know, like if I'm going to an event, if I'm having someone over, if I'm doing a social interaction and not sitting in my house on my own, I'm gonna have a shower and wash my hair. And all of a sudden, to a medical professional, to social services, to any sort of like care or support that I might be able to receive, that means I'm fine. The fact that I've managed to shower for the first time in 3, 4, 5 weeks because someone's about to come and see me, that means that I'm actually completely fine. I could have just had a shower the entire time, and I'm just so lazy and just putting it on and just can't be bothered, you know? All of the things that I've been taught to do to like be respected as a person, to like be a person, these are things that people do. If I do those things, which I have to do because I have so much like trauma and guilt and weird feelings about not doing it, I have to do it. They're the things that make people look at me and go, oh, so you're fine then. Like, if you could do it for this, you can just do that every single day forever to have a job, couldn't you? And that's not a point that I wrote down, but the level to which people are like, well, if you can do this, you can do that. And if you can do that, you can do this. And there's just such a limited understanding of like the fact that I've used all of my energy and absolutely like everything that I have within me, every ounce of like mental capability, every ounce of like physical mental energy, I've used all of that to do this. I don't have anything left to do that and that. Like, I don't understand how I'm supposed to do it. I can't do it. But because I did that, I should just stop being lazy and just do this other thing. When I can't do it. I would be doing it if I could. And also just telling people that you can't do something unless it's such a like, oh, you need a more can-do attitude. And like, no. Like, unfortunately, autism is a disability. I'm not just like flouncing and flaking and having a fun little time. Like, I absolutely cannot do some things. And there's also a lot of things that I can technically do, but there's going to be a huge amount of recovery time, and it's going to be essentially like another trauma in my life. It's going to be another thing that makes things more difficult for me in the long run, and that is so consistently not considered. Within being like quite a traumatized person at this point in time, I exist quite massively in survival mode. Like, not so much these last couple of months since I moved, like moving and you know, I again put a massive amount of work into like myself and my life, and reached out and asked for help and had support from friends to get myself into a better position so that I'm able to like look after myself better and to feel better and everything. But the vast majority of my life, and even some things now, I very much get through because I'm in just an absolute complete survival mode. I don't even feel like I'm making my own choices within the moment. I'm not processing anything. It feels like someone else has taken over my brain and is doing what needs to be done. And it's exhausting, and it's kind of scary because I don't feel like I'm making good choices, because I'm just making choices to have made a choice because I know a choice needs to be made. And it's so much of my life and so many of my memories are literally an absolute blur, and I can't keep them into like a chronological time order because it was just pure survival mode, do what needs to be done, and then spend the next 3 months not able to like get up and do anything, struggling to even make myself a meal every day, like truly just having nothing left because I had to do this thing. And it's a case of like, it's one of those where I never want to be dramatic, but especially with like needing to move and having to move to new spaces and like just having to like keep myself alive and sustained, so many moments and so many times have felt like genuine literal life or death moments where like, yeah, of course I was going to get through it because my alternative was be homeless and die. Like, yeah, I pulled and dragged myself through it. It wasn't fucking easy. I barely remember it now. I just remember that it was fucking horrible. And it's And it takes a huge amount of like work and rest and all sorts of other shit that I barely even understand to be able to recover from it, and to be able to I've had to uproot and change my entire life and my hobbies and everything that I do in order to feel like I have some level of a rested nervous system that can start to actually heal, and not just live every single moment of every single day in this like, just get through it, just survive, just get through it, just survive. Because that is how I've been since I was like fucking 13, like Christ. And that's just not seen again, you know, like so much of it seems to be things that other people just deal with, and sure, it's still stressful and difficult for them, but they're not me, they don't have my brain, they don't have my exact like mental shit going on and my disabilities and everything else. And like I hate the concept of like, oh, things are harder for me, but also things are harder for neurodivergent people than they are for the average person that isn't neurodivergent. You know, it's tougher for us than it is for neurotypicals, and I feel like that is just fact, unfortunately. And there is just no consideration of the fact of like, yes, I've managed to do like the base things that I'm supposed to do as a person, and it has been so hard and so difficult, and it takes so much to recover and to like get back to a remotely settled place afterwards. And it's another one that is definitely like a level of masking, and it's just a massive level of like being a working class autistic person that isn't in like a safe and supported situation. Like it's survival mode or die, you know? So it's the thing of, even when things feel absolutely dire to me, people looking in are like, so you just need to find somewhere to move to, so you just need to do this, so you just need to do that. And they're ignoring that there is like 73 steps to be able to do that thing, and I'm on step 2, and it's all incredibly overwhelming, and it's all incredibly like, I don't understand half of the shit that I have to do to live as a person. I don't process the other half. I feel like I so rarely have any fucking idea what is going on with me, with my life, with what I'm doing, with fucking any of it. And I'm meant to just like change my mindset and relax and be okay with it. And what I think will be my final little point here is that if I'm on the phone, if I'm speaking to a stranger, if I'm dealing with like a medical professional, someone that I don't know closely, I'm very fucking flat. I have very little expression. I'm having to like really consider the expression that I'm going to put into my voice, into my face. And I've had so many people on here try and call bullshit on this, because you're so expressive in videos. No one else here is there. There's no one else here. It's just me. I'm not talking to a stranger right now. I'm looking at my phone. It's just me here. This is the most unmasked that I get. And not only am I unmasked, but there's also a level of like, I'm making a YouTube video, I'm doing a performance. I am more expressive in YouTube videos than I am even when I'm like talking to my friends, I think. Someone back me up. As someone with a social disability, when I'm in a social setting, I am actually quite disabled by that social disability, and it becomes very difficult for me to put anything into my voice, to find words to fucking say, to make my face do anything. And I especially have to focus on my face, because the other side of that is that sometimes I'm very fucking expressive in real life, but only when someone's upsetting me or pissing me off or annoying me. Like, I have to try so hard to not roll my eyes, to not give someone a dirty look, to not like, especially when doctors are explaining to me that I'm actually just like a little bit anxious, I'm actually completely fine and there's not ever been anything wrong with me. It takes everything in me to not literally sit there and be like, and as such, I don't know what expression I am supposed to use. Like, that's one of my big things in a lot of social interactions, is I know that I'm supposed to be doing like an expression with my face. I don't know which expression it's supposed to be. And I can tell from people's reactions that I quite often do the wrong fucking facial expression, because I just don't know what face I'm supposed to do. So it is a case of, I have gone into doctors' offices and no one ever showed me how to show emotion. If I was upset or angry or experiencing anything negative, I was to go to my room until I'd dealt with it and then come back when I was ready to act normally. So I've literally gone into doctors' offices and been there like, yeah, so I'm like really depressed, like really like genuinely like considering killing myself, like I'm having a really bad time, like it's really not good, and I really think that this might actually be the time that I'm a danger to myself, and I might actually like knock myself out, you know, I might actually do it this time. And like, big shock, no one's taking that fucking seriously, you know? And even when I've been like that and I've told them like, I'm autistic, so I know I might not be coming across in the way that you expect because I'm autistic and I can't help that, but I do feel this way. And that's why I had 2 doctors that were like, oh, so what makes you think you're autistic? And I've been like, the diagnosis that I got in 2019, and they suddenly take that a hell of a lot more seriously. And that's one where like, I don't often include points in videos that aren't like part of my own experience, but I really deeply feel for the women that are like, for anybody, but especially women that are getting their autism and ADHD diagnosis or like other neurodivergency diagnoses since like 2020, because I do feel like, from what I've seen, a massive assumption is if you were diagnosed 2020 or later, or if you're currently trying to be diagnosed, obviously you just ended up on TikTok during lockdown and decided that you're autistic when you were actually just a bit lonely because it was lockdown. Duh. And like, that's not like, if that is the case, it's like one person in every like 1500, you know, like if it is the case. I can't imagine how fucking rough it is to be going to doctors in like now to ask for diagnosis, to try and be diagnosed, having a recent diagnosis, because I've had many a time where it is simply the fact that I started my like journey towards diagnosis in 2017 and was diagnosed in 2019 that has made them take me seriously. And it's like, I'm glad that you're taking me seriously, but I'm pissed off that you weren't taking me seriously previously and that you're not going to be taking other people seriously based entirely on what fucking year they were diagnosed. It's insane and it's gross. And I you know, like, I do think it's probably more of a female issue. I don't want to like piss us against each other, but I do like, misogyny exists. That's just fact, innit? Like, I don't know why I was like tee misogyny, but yeah, I do sort of feel like I could have rounded up this video into like a single TikTok of being like, I mask and don't act in the exact way they expect autistic people to mask, so I don't get taken seriously, and also woman. But I think it's good to discuss these things and have like a more in-depth focus and to be able to like respond to each other and discuss things and validate each other, because I know for sure it can't just be me that's feeling like, I mean, I don't know for sure, but I would assume from like having made videos like this for the last couple of years now that it's not just me that feels like this, and it's not just me who isn't taken seriously and who's sort of like dismissed and invalidated for things that I can't really help. I'm definitely out of words now. If you want to see more content like this, you can follow me. I also post body doubling videos that I think are really actually quite fun and quite like a main part of my content at this point, I suppose. And videos about my family and past abusive relationships. So it's really fun. We're really having a good time. So you can subscribe if you want to see more of that. You can also find me over on TikTok or Instagram. TikTok is more like autism focused and my Instagram is more like, I saw a really nice hill today because I live in Yorkshire now. So I think it's really funny. You can follow me there if you want to. You can also find me over on Patreon or Ko-fi. I'm done. Whoever you are, wherever you are, I hope you have a lovely morning, evening, day, afternoon, week, month, year. And I'll see you again in a couple of days.